With a new Nintendo console inevitably coming at some point in the near future, I would say it's pretty likely a new Smash installment is at the very least being discussed. Everyone seems to have a different opinion on where they should take the Smash Bros. Series next, with many saying that they will have to, or even that they should, cut some of the characters from Ultimate. I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't do this, but imagining they bring back every single character from Smash Bros. Ultimate, I thought it would be fun to take a look at 10 newcomers that I would like to see in Super Smash Bros. 6. Glass Joe. I've always felt that Glass Joe is the obvious next step after Little Mac for the Punch-Out series. For his moves, I feel like he would play very similarly to Little Mac, except maybe just a little bit slower, and obviously he needs a much better recovery. Little Mac's recovery is probably the worst part of his character, and also just Glass Joe is a really funny character. He's kind of the go-to first fight in the original Punch-Out game, so I think it'd be really fun to see him as a playable fighter. In 9th place I have Ashley. This is a character that I've been saying belongs in Smash Bros. For a long time. It's another WarioWare rep, which is desperately needed, and on top of that, I have always been a fan of her design. She's already been featured in Smash Bros. As both a Mii costume as well as an assist trophy, so I don't think it would be that big of a stretch to see her come as a playable character. Spyro. Now this next one is going to be a little controversial, but I want Spyro to be a mixture of both his original design and the Skylanders version. As far as his moveset and design goes, I would want him to look most similar to how he looked in the reimagined games, but for his stage, I would like to go with Skylands, and I think Chaos or Sheep Creep would be a really cool assist trophy, and I think Skylanders as a series does kind of need to be represented in Smash Bros. Because the entire Toys to Life genre has no real mention in these games. And as Smash Bros. Trying to be a huge gaming crossover, I do think the Toys to Life kind of era of gaming is important to reference. In 7th place I have Trubbish. I wanted to put one of my favorite Pokemon on this list, but most of them wouldn't be very fun or possible to play as in Smash Bros. Other than Trubbish. I mean, it's a trash bag with a face. I think it could work really well as the joke character of Smash 6, and it also doubles as a new Pokemon rep, which is kind of inevitable at this point. Also, Gen 5 is one of the only generations without a rep so far, and it has that going for it, especially since, in theory, around time that this new Smash Bros. Would come out, we would also be getting some kind of Gen 5 remake, or Pokemon Legends Gen 5, something like that. SubZero. With the amount of Street Fighter reps now in the game, I think it's time we see a Mortal Kombat character join in. And I think the best option is SubZero. His ice abilities would be really fun to play with, and if Nintendo is too afraid to use the Fatality as his final smash, we could always go the funnier route with references to something like Friendship. Of course, all of his alternatives would be different Mortal Kombat characters, and I think he'd be really fun to play as. In the 5th place spot, I have Shell from the Portal series. While we may never get a Portal 3, as much as I would love it, we should at least get a Portal rep in Smash Bros. Shell would be really fun to play as, making use of her Portal gun and her moveset, and I think it would be really fun if, similar to Snake and Pit, there's a way that GLaDOS could come in and make comments about the different opponents that you're up against. Waluigi. I feel like this character being on my list was obvious. It is still crazy to me that Waluigi wasn't in Ultimate. His moveset could be really unique, focusing on the Mario spin-offs for inspiration, and I will say that out of every character on this list, I do feel like he is the most likely to be in Super Smash Bros. 6. Bandana D. Kirby is in desperate need of another rep, and no other character fits that role better than Bandana D, and while it's probably not likely, I would love to see him come with an epic yarn themed stage. Either way, Bandana D would be a really fun character with a unique playstyle different from the other 3 Kirby characters already in the game. King Boo. Okay, so hear me out. I've always wanted a better Luigi's Mansion rep in Smash Bros. And for a while I would have said EGAD, but ever since the Piranha Plant made it into Smash Bros. DLC, I have wanted King Boo to join the battle. I think he would be one of the most fun characters in the game. His alternatives could include the Mario series King Boo and the Luigi's Mansion series King Boo, since for some reason they're different. And for his final smash, he could trap his opponents inside of a painting. And finally, number 1 is the Flipnote Frog. There was never any other character who could have been number 1. Flipnote is probably the most time I've ever invested in a single video game. It was basically my introduction to video creation, and one day I hope to make an entire video just about it. But the software's mascot, the Flipnote Frog, is one that I have always wanted to see in Smash Bros. I drew up this kind of design of what he could kind of look like in Smash Bros. Since up until this point, he's only ever been pixel art, and I think he could be a fun character. He would be unique, kind of in the same vein of like the Wii Fit trainer, and I think he could be really fun. Well, that's about it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to smack that like button, and I would love to know down below what characters you would like to see in the next Smash Bros. Game.